Story: The Secret of Learning English. Part 1: The Beginning of a Remarkable Journey. Arya had always dreamed of speaking English fluently. He watched English movies, read language, learning books, and even joined online classes. But every time he tried to speak, his tongue froze. The words were in his mind, yet his mouth refused to say them. He felt as if he would never succeed. One day, after failing yet another language test, he wandered the streets of Kabul, lost in thought. A gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh tea from nearby cafes. As he walked, his eyes caught an old, dusty sign: Library of Knowledge. Something inside him urged him to step in. Inside, rows of bookshelves stood tall in complete silence. In a quiet corner, on a worn wooden table, lay a thick brown book with golden letters on the cover. The Secret to Learning a Language in 90 Days. The title intrigued him. He quickly sat down and opened the book. But to his surprise, there was only one sentence written on the first page. If you truly want to learn English, you must find the real secret. Arya frowned and flipped through the pages. But the rest of the book was blank. No lessons, no techniques, nothing. It was as if the author had left it unfinished. At that moment, the faint sound of a page turning broke the silence. An old man with piercing eyes and white hair sat nearby, calmly reading a book. He looked at Arya with a knowing smile and said, "It seems you are also searching for this secret." Arya hesitated. "Do you know about this book? Why are all the pages empty?" The old man's gaze deepened, and with a mysterious tone he said, "The secret to learning a language is not written in books, my boy. If you truly want to master English, you must go where no one understands, your native language." Arya thought for a moment. "You mean I have to travel to another country, but that's impossible for me." The old man chuckled, reached into his pocket, and handed Arya a small card. "Everything begins here," he said softly. Arya looked at the card. It read, "Travelers Cafe, 7 p.m. His heart pounded. Travelers Cafe? What kind of place is that? He had never heard of it before. Arya looked up to ask the old man more questions, but he was gone. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Arya didn't know what awaited him, but one thing was certain. He had to go to that cafe. Perhaps there he would find the first clue. Part 2: The Mysterious Cafe. Arya had been staring at the small card in his hand all day. Travelers Cafe? 7 p.m.? Where Kas was this place? He had never heard of it before. After some searching, he found out that the cafe was located in one of the city's old streets, an area rarely visited by people. As the sun began to set, his heart pounded faster. He had no idea what awaited him at this cafe, but he felt that this was the beginning of a great adventure. Finally, at 6:55 p.m., he arrived in front of the cafe. The building was old but warm and inviting. Its large windows were decorated with golden lights, and through the glass he could see the silhouettes of people engaged in conversation. On the wooden door, a beautifully written sign read, "Travelers Cafe, a place for languages and stories." Arya took a deep breath and pushed the door open. A small bell above the door rang, and a completely different world unfolded before his eyes. Inside, people were speaking in various languages, some in English, others in French, and a few in languages he had never even heard before. Laughter and conversation filled the air. The walls were covered with world maps and inspiring quotes about language learning. As he looked around curiously, a young woman with a friendly face approached him and smiled. "Hello. First time here?" Arya hesitated for a moment. He understood the sentence, but how should he respond? For a few seconds, he froze. But then something sparked in his mind. "I'm here to learn. I'm here to speak." He took a deep breath and, with a little hesitation, said, Yes. First time?" The woman laughed warmly and said, "Great. Welcome to Traveler's Cafe. I'm Emma." Arya felt a sense of relief. For the first time, he had spoken English with a stranger, and they had understood him. Emma pointed toward a table where a small group of people was sitting. "Come, we talk and learn together." Arya hesitated for a moment, then smiled and walked toward the table. Was this the place where he would finally discover the real secret of learning a language? Part 3, the first challenge. Arya sat down at the table, feeling both excited and nervous. Around him were 4 people, each with a different accent. Emma introduced them one by one. "This is Daniel from Canada, Maria from Spain, Leo from France, and Amir from Turkey. We all come here to practice English." Arya nodded, trying to remember their names. Daniel, a tall man with a friendly smile, leaned forward and asked, "So, Arya, why do you want to learn English?" Arya's mind went blank. He had 100 reasons, but how could he express them? He hesitated for a few seconds, then slowly said, I want to speak English." "Good," Maria smiled encouragingly. "You mean you want to speak English well?" Arya blushed. He had made a mistake, but no one laughed at him. Instead, they helped him. He repeated, "I want to speak English well." Emma nodded. "That's the spirit. Making mistakes is normal. The more you speak, the better you get." Daniel leaned in. "Here's a rule we follow. No fear, no perfection. Just speak." Arya took a deep breath. Maybe this was what he had been missing all along. He had been too afraid of making mistakes, too focused on being perfect. But here, in this cafe, no one judged him. Leo handed him a card with a question written on it. "Read this and answer." Arya looked at the card. It said, "If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?" His heart raced. He struggled to form a sentence, but then he remembered Daniel's words. No fear, no perfection, just speak. He smiled and said, "I want to go to New York. I like big city." Amir grinned. "You like big cities? Me too. What do you like about New York?" Arya hesitated, searching for words, but something had changed. He wasn't afraid anymore. He was speaking English, imperfectly, but confidently. And for the first time, he felt like he was truly learning. Part 4, the real secret. As the conversation continued, Arya felt more comfortable. He made mistakes, but no one laughed. Instead, they encouraged him. He was finally speaking English without fear. After an hour of talking, Emma smiled and said, "Arya, do you want to know the real secret to learning English?" Arya leaned forward eagerly. "Yes." Emma pointed to the people around the table. "This. Conversations. Real practice. The secret isn't in books or apps. It's in speaking, making mistakes, and learning from them." Daniel nodded. "Language isn't just about words, it's about connection. When you talk, you learn." Arya thought about all the years he had spent trying to learn English alone, afraid of speaking. Now, in just one evening, he had spoken more English than ever before. Leo added, "Many people wait until they are perfect to speak. But perfection never comes. You learn by doing. Arya smiled. He finally understood. The real secret to learning English wasn't about studying more. It was about using what he had learned. Emma placed a notebook in front of him. Write your goal, a small promise to yourself. Arya picked up the pen and wrote, "I will speak English every day." The group cheered. As Arya left the cafe that night, he felt different. He was no longer just a learner. He was a speaker. And this was just the beginning of his journey.